Hello, this is Kyle. So, at last we've made it to the series finale, and I've devoted a whole video to reviewing this one because I have quite a lot to say on it. So, let's just get straight into it. So, in Dark Water and Death in Heaven, the Doctor and Clara go looking for the afterlife and instead end up meeting a new army of Cybermen. This was a tough one to give a rating to because I have so many mixed feelings when watching it.
If you look at a really bad episode, like the previous one for example, which I gave 1.5 stars to, it's hard to feel anything but indifference to it. I'm not angry or upset, I just don't care, which is when you know that the writing has failed. Now, I couldn't possibly give a mark that low to Dark Water and Death in Heaven, since I absolutely adore the premise, and the build-up is executed so well.
In fact, if I was reviewing the first episode in isolation, I would probably give it 4.5 stars, or even 5 stars, and yet as we move on into the second half of the story, it actually becomes unpleasant to watch, because the most painful thing as a writer and as a fan is to see wasted potential, and this premise had so much potential.
We start with Danny being killed. Yes, a character we care about, or some of us care about at least, actually gets killed. Not killed so that they can come back in the next episode. He's actually dead. Yeah, that's just Clara's imagination, so that's okay. Also, the scene where he is run over is done really well. No over-the-top build-up or dramatic music, just bang, he's knocked over, off-screen, and that's it. Clara's reaction works really well too. When she is threatening the Doctor, her behaviour is stupid and irrational, but that's okay because she has just lost Danny, and in that situation she has no obligation to act logically or rationally.
Wow, this story does not start slowly. Already there are massive stakes there, and this really feels like a finale. So, what happens next? The Doctor and Clara are going to try and find the afterlife. What a brilliant idea! I actually want to see where this is going. And their search leads them to the 3W facility. The 3 words, of course, being the infamous "Don't cremate me."
Now I'm just going to say straight away, I love this concept. If this series was supposed to have a darker tone, then we certainly got it here. This is freaking morbid and disturbing, and I love it so much, I can't help it. I know it has caused a lot of controversy and there has been a backlash from some corners of the fandom, but I'll be honest, that just makes me adore it even more. All I will say is that Trilby has at least one valid point.
At no point is it explicitly stated that the idea of dead people still being conscious is made up. I kind of deduced that when it was revealed that the rest of it was all a scam. But yes, there probably should have been a line in there just to make that absolutely clear. Anyway, it turns out that the dead bodies are all Cybermen. Yes, this is a Cybermen story. Permission to squeak!
Believe it or not, the Cybermen are one of my favourite villains. It takes a lot to get me scared, but the Cybermen still have that ability to make me tingle. And it's because you know there is a real living organism of flesh and blood inside that metal suit. Again, morbid and disturbing, I can't get enough of it. Unfortunately, they are all too often treated as generic robots, and the instant this happens, they lose their impact immensely. I watched Robots of Death recently, which, as the title suggests, is about generic robots killing people, and it's a well-written story, but it just doesn't scare me or really do anything for me like the Cybermen do.
However, this time I think the organic side of the Cybermen is properly explored. I mean, we have dead bodies being converted into Cybermen and rising up out of their graves. Another dark and absolutely fantastic concept. So the episode finishes on a cliffhanger with the Cybermen having emerged and Missy being revealed as the Master. Not that that's much of a revelation. I can see Moffat now going, "Oh, aren't I clever? I bet you didn't see that one coming." Yes, Moffat, we saw that coming a mile off, and I don't even care because this is not a substitute for good storytelling. But anyway, onwards to Death in Heaven, and sadly from here on it goes downhill very fast.
So we start off with a throwaway gimmick about Clara being the Doctor, which did not deserve its own dedicated title sequence. In fact, I'm pretty sure this scene only exists just to create some interesting lines for the trailer. But on to the Cybermen, and people are having pictures taken with them, and that's funny, I guess.
Now there's something missing here, something important. Oh yeah, the Cybermen aren't freaking killing anyone! I don't think they're collectively responsible for a single death in the entire episode.
Say what you like about the 2006 two-parter Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel, but it at least got the basics right. The Cybermen there actually killed people and were a legitimate threat. These guys are rubbish. Avoid the graveyards. Why? These Cybermen aren't going to hurt anyone, they're just going to waddle around and be useless. As I said, the Cybermen are one of my favourite villains, and I hate to see them treated this way by writers. But it's going to get worse.
As for the plot itself, there are just too many lazy contrivances, like Danny is a Cyberman and his emotional inhibitor hasn't been activated. Why? All you needed was one line of dialogue somewhere to explain that, and if it hasn't been activated, then why is his head not exploded? I mean, I thought that was how it worked. No?
One thing that this story does have going for it is Michelle Gomez. She does a great job of portraying the complete insanity of Missy with the way that she casually kills Osgood and Kate. And that was one of the few moments of Death in Heaven where I felt like there were actual real stakes. But wait, doesn't Kate come back before the end of the episode? So that was kind of cheating on Moffat's part. Well, at least there's still Osgood's death. That was a powerful moment. That's it. I give up. There are no consequences to anything that happens in Doctor Who anymore. We've seen already in Day of the Doctor that even destroying Gallifrey has no consequences. And now if anything like this happens in the future, why should I care? It means nothing. So why should I care in the slightest?
So, what else is there? A bunch of other stuff that I don't care about, like Missy doing a safety briefing routine with the Cybermen. Yeah, thanks for that, because the Cybermen didn't look pathetic enough already. And then we see the Brigadier as a Cyberman, which is again contrived because it relies on a line earlier in the episode for its payoff, which really doesn't do justice to all the years Nicholas Courtney worked on the programme. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say it verges on distasteful. The worst thing about all this is that even now I can see how this episode might have worked. There's some great subtext in there about the Doctor being compared to Missy, because the Doctor says that his emotions are the difference between them, but then Danny points out that he would still activate his emotional inhibitor in order to gain a tactical advantage.
And then there is what for me is the most memorable scene from Death in Heaven, and possibly from the whole series, when the Doctor is unable to find Gallifrey and he completely loses control and starts attacking his console. It's powerful because the Doctor is such a cool and calculated character, even when he's angry, and only something very deep and personally important to him could begin to make him react in this way. Moments like that almost make me want to forgive all the episode's faults, but I'm afraid having the Cybermen not kill people is an irredeemable sin. Moffat, you gave me hope, and then you took it away. That's enough to provoke the wrath of any critic. God knows what it will do to me. I give Dark Water and Death in Heaven 2.5 stars out of 5 for being a huge disappointment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can also check out my website and my Facebook page, and I'll see you next time.